He's not a big 35. I don't see why people was like, oh, you brought up a smaller guy, woo de woo, blah, blah. I mean, like, to me personally, I'm not stunned.
If you saying specifically pick me because I'm gonna be an easy cakewalk,
Yep.
everybody in the world knows that's not gonna happen. I mean, like, that's not gonna happen.
Nah, he's strategic. He's setting guys up. He been boxing since a little kid, just like I've been boxing since a little kid. And you can tell, like, with the experience, even with his last fight with Frank.
Shakur Stevenson has advised Gervonta "Tank" Davis to stay away from a fight with Lamont Roach. He says Tank is a smart and careful fighter who picks his opponents wisely. Stevenson points out that Tank chooses fighters that match his style and give him the best chance to win. He believes this is how Tank has stayed undefeated and kept his strong position in the sport.
Say good management, it depends on what your direction is. Some people do pick those fights so they already knockout, 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 and then next thing you know, they on the championship level. Now it's a real test.
Okay.
Now it's like, all right, you gonna show up or you just gonna sit on the pot?
Let him waste his energy, gas steam out, and then round 8, okay, it's time to go home.
When would you like to see that fight happen?
Whenever. I think that I'm ready for it, he ready for it, we both in our primes. It can happen next, it can happen next year, it can happen whenever he say, let's fight, that's when it's gonna happen.
I see you online with his coach and stuff. Like, why you be on there, bro? Why you be on there with him? You knew him from when you were younger?
I knew all they coaches. Let's see, I don't have like no real beef. Like, it ain't no, like, you feel me? Like, however they take it, they could take it, but I don't got like no real beef with like his coaching. I knew them since back in the day, like we got a certain relationship. Now it's like, you know, they just be, I guess, trolling and stuff, so I just troll back.
Shakur Stevenson says a fight between him and Gervonta would be a big moment in boxing. He highlights that it would grab major attention from fans and media alike. Stevenson thinks the matchup would bring out the best in both fighters, making it one of the most awaited fights.
It's the biggest fight in the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be the biggest boxing fight in the world when it happens. I could see it happening not too far in the future.
Really?
I can see it. I don't think, like, I think Tank will sign that contract.
Dang.
And I'm going to sign a contract too, so it's
now
like,
you're gonna get it on.
Meanwhile, Gervonta "Tank" Davis admits that Shakur Stevenson is fast and skilled, recognizing his talent as a boxer. But when asked if a fight between them would be exciting, Tank doesn't seem too eager. He says the fight will happen when the time is right, but doesn't sound sure about how entertaining it would be. His comment, "Everyone will know when it happens," shows he's not fully convinced the fight would deliver the kind of action fans usually hope for in a big showdown.
He mentioned Loma, Shakur would be another guy with you. I wonder, Shakur is a quick boxer, a good guy, but do you think he would engage you enough that'd make it an entertaining fight? Or if you fought him, do you feel like it would be a bad fight because you'd be chasing him all night?
You know how it would go. Everybody in this room would know how it would go. You know what I mean? But I guess it'd be good for the sport if we fight now or later.
Who have Shakur? What have Shakur done? What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing. The young one is looking more better than him.
Who that?
The Keyshawn looking way more better than this. So I keep screaming his name. He haven't done nothing. Keyshawn haven't even done nothing.
So what do you say to those who
Y'all
might
keep
be
saying his
afraid?
name for?
So what do you say to those who might be saying that, Tank is afraid of Shakur?
Afraid of what? Afraid of what? Us fighters, if we're afraid of somebody, it gotta be somebody hitting us and hurting us. Like, he don't have no offense. Everything is defense. Defense only win in basketball and football. That shit win in boxing.
Many critics say the upcoming fight between Tank Davis and Lamont Roach seems more about making money than real competition. They believe Tank picked Roach because he sees him as an easy win, someone he can beat without much trouble. Meanwhile, Roach is being called out for taking the fight mainly for the paycheck, not the challenge.
He's doing this fight for money, and Tank is strategically picking him because in the amateur world, you guys fought twice, right? And you lost, both times? In the amateur fight. So are you all friends? Are y'all cordial? First, what's the relationship?
We're cordial for
You're
sure.
cordial?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
He cool to me.
he's cool to you.
Yeah.
And you haven't heard that he said anything differently?
Oh yeah, for sure.
He has?
No, he hasn't.
He has not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm
Right.
confirming that he hasn't said
He has
anything
not said
different.
anything differently. So does it does it confirm people's suspicion that he purposefully picked you, not only because you're cordial, but because he believes he's gonna knock you out, get the purse, and then you walk away with a nice piece of change?
I mean, you're in the wrong game if you don't think you're gonna beat everybody. Like, anyway, but if you're saying specifically pick me because I'm gonna be an easy cakewalk,
Yep.
everybody in the world knows that's not gonna happen. I mean, like, that's not gonna happen. Him personally, he know that. I think he chose me because I am gonna be one of the better opponents that he's faced in his entire career, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Lamont Roach says his fight with Gervonta "Tank" Davis isn't about money. He calls Tank an easy target and says the fight will be no big deal for him. Roach reminds everyone that he's the champion at 130 pounds, while Tank fights at 135 pounds. He adds that if Tank really wanted a tough challenge, he would have picked someone from a higher weight class like Canelo Alvarez, but Roach also admits that fighting Canelo isn't realistic since Canelo competes at 168 pounds in the super middleweight division.
Because you had to get, if I'm not mistaken, you had to get permission to be bumped up to that weight class of lightweight in order to fight, because you're in the what, range of 130?
Yeah, I'm the champion at 130.
You're the world champion at 130 and he's 135.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so aren't there other fighters he could have fought within an upper weight class like Canelo? I've heard a lot of people say, why isn't he fighting Canelo rather than Roach? What's up with that?
They want that man to fight Canelo, man?
They do.
I don't know, that's
I've
crazy.
heard a lot of people say that.
That's crazy.
Lamont Roach confidently says he's ready to face any fighter with a championship title, including Shakur Stevenson. He believes that taking on champions is the best way to prove a fighter's true skill, and he's prepared for that challenge.
Who you looking to fight next after this fight? Like, Tank over, win, lose, draw, whatever. Who you want next?
Look, if y'all don't know, even after I beat Tank, I'm gonna go back down to 130 and handle some smoke that I got down there at 130. All the champions, I got smoke with all the champions. I wanted to unify at least one belt at 130.
Okay.
So whoever the champion is, whoever the champions are, hopefully I can just line them up and then take them out. It's good fights. The champions are Lomachenko, Shakur, and another guy from Ukraine, Denis Baranchik or something like that.
Okay. I feel like you and Shakur are really... I think people in the comments are actually wanting that fight, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I mean, that'd be a good fight.
Yeah, it'd be a great fight.
Yeah, nah, they could fight. Shakur can boogie for sure.
Lamont Roach gives a calm take on Shakur Stevenson's career, saying it's not Shakur's fault that fighters avoid him. Roach understands the struggle Shakur faces trying to land big fights and points out that he's stuck in a frustrating cycle where top opponents keep turning him down.
Kid Austin, he's number 2 contender right in one of them sanctioning bodies.
The WBA?
Yeah, the WBA. So, and Shakur couldn't get a fight to save it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not his fault that people not fighting him. So, and then I guess, Schofield and his daddy talked his way into a fight. So it is what it is. I think Shakur going to, do his thing and show why that people might be, down in that fight as well.
Tank Davis has made it clear he wants excitement in his fights. He believes facing Lamont Roach could deliver the kind of action he's looking for, something he feels a fight with Shakur Stevenson wouldn't offer.
To show y'all something, I want y'all to pay close attention. Tank's telling y'all he don't want to chase him around. Y'all want to see Tank knock people out. You don't want to see him chase somebody around the whole fight, because what happened when Shakur do it, when somebody chasing him around, it's boring. What's next for Tank? If anything, it's going to be Keyshawn out of them two. Keyshawn is more entertaining. Keyshawn going to stand there and throw the punches. You can look into Shakur eyes when I show y'all this, when Terrence Crawford say, look, he up next, and how he turned his head like he don't even believe in himself no more. Like, check it out, man.
What have he done in the sport? He haven't done nothing.
During a heated moment, Dant Davis firmly told Lamont Roach to leave his family out of their rivalry. Roach had shared that his entire family is from Washington, D.C. and fully backs his journey in boxing.
My whole family is from D.C. My whole family, like my entire family.
Don't bring them.
For what?
Bring them.
For what?
Don't bring them. telling you,
They
don't
gonna
bring
celebrate with me. You
Don't bring him.
It's gonna be a party on your floor.
I'm gonna let y'all know something. His father was up here shaking on the what's the name? He was shaking on the
Pops.
On my kids, he was shaking on this thing. On my kids, he was shaking.
Don't
Never.
say, bro.
That's cap. What I about to say?
How you gonna say it's cap? And
It gotta be.
You gonna say it's cap? I'm watching them.
Gotta be. Hey.
Somebody lying.
Good.
Hey.
Yeah, somebody lying.
Hey.
Somebody lying.
Hey.
Okay, Tank.
In a daring move, Dant Davis raises the stakes by putting a huge $100 billion bet on the table with Lamont Roach's team. This over-the-top wager is more than just a challenge. It's Tank's way of proving his confidence and showing he's certain he'll beat Roach in their upcoming fight.
What?
Who said that? You said
My
what?
man over
You
there
said what?
bet.
Yeah, that's why I've been waiting for the niggas to talk. How much you want back? How much you want to bet? Because I came up here alone. How much y'all want back? How much you want back? Just call it out. Huh? 100? That's a bet. What's your name? Al, where you from? All right, bet. It's a bet.
Alright, cuz. Yeah, cuz.
Tank, you feeling better now. Tank feeling better.
Yeah. Somebody done got him out his bag.
Lamont, what's going down March 1st? Prediction, how does it play out at Barclays Center here?
You signed 100K?
Come on, hey, fool, hold on. He with me, so he wasn't gonna say nothing. He wasn't gonna say no number with no K.
Y'all want bet 100?
Connor Ben brings up a valid question, wondering why Gervonta Davis keeps fighting if he's thinking about retirement. Ben highlights the contradiction between Davis talking about leaving the sport and then challenging Lamont Roach to a fight.
Lamont Roach, but, you know, when you're looking at Shakur Stevenson, when you're looking at, you know, these other fighters that he should really be fighting, you know, he don't want to do them fights. He wants to retire.
Yeah.
So don't come and, but don't come and come at me and go, oh yeah, let's give it all, you know, Barry Big Bollocks and go, oh yeah, let's give him some stick and then make out like we want the fight. And then we send an offer over and then you fight for 15 million and yet you fight Lamont Roach. Don't do all that. Do you know what I mean?
It was a real offer. That was true then.
It was a real offer. We offered, I said, listen, you keep talking shit. My promoter's going to get back to you in 48 hours. 50 minutes. Initial offer sent over. You know, but was it Uncle Al didn't let him out to play? His boss didn't let him out. That's it. So he wants to talk about, 50 million. First offer.
There was room to negotiate.
Of course there was. But he's an idiot. I don't even know if he knows what negotiating means.
Lamont Roach confidently declares that he's going to beat Gervonta Davis, promising it will be a whole new experience for Tank in the ring. Roach stands firm in his belief, saying he has the skills and mindset to take Davis down like no one ever has before.
It was so easy when he fought Frank Martin.
Frank Martin was inexperienced and nervous. You know, it is what it is. It's going to be a different fight when I'm in there. He's going to be a different fighter when he's fighting me.
Hey, what's you on the game plan?
Whoop his ass. I'm always looking for a knockout. No matter what, I'm always prepared for 12 rounds. But I'm always looking for a knockout, and if I get the chance, I'm going to try to knock his head off.
At a press conference, Gervonta Davis opened up about how his opponents usually react in the ring. He said that many of them talk tough before the fight, but once they're inside the ring with him, they quickly see the gap in skill and power.
The people who I fight, when they start talking, that's when y'all get dumb. I'ma beat his ass.
You can't do shit, boy.
For real. Y'all better be quiet.
I don't give a fuck if y'all is quiet, if y'all is loud.
He got the other hood over there.
Like, twisted up. I don't give a fuck
y'all
about none
can
of that.
do whatever
I don't
y'all
care about
want.
none of
My
that.
mother, he
I don't
can't
care
stop
about no
nothing
hood,
over
no
here.
none of that.
Not at all.
I'm telling you, I'ma fuck him up.
Not at all. Never. Nothing's
y'all-
gonna get fucked up
y'all
over here.
face up.
What do I look like getting fucked up?
Okay.
That shit.
Okay.
That shit ain't never gonna stop nothing over here.
And he gonna pay for it. I guarantee he pay for it. I guarantee he pay for it. I guarantee it.
Calm down. Calm down, brother.
Come to the fight. Come to the fight.
They probably gonna get you fucked up.
Boxing analyst Shiz the Adult shares his view on the Tank versus Lamont Roach fight, saying he's disappointed because it looks like a mismatch. He believes some of the top fighters in the division are avoiding Tank Davis, forcing him to take on easier opponents like Roach.
Here's my take on the fight. Everything is true. about this situation. One, Gervonta Tank Davis was being ducked leading up to this. Shakur Stevenson ducked him. Lomachenko ducked him openly. El Rayo didn't want to fight this year. He wanted to fight next year. Another thing is, I was hearing that Tank wanted it at 135 and rehydration, all kind of shit. So, but I don't know how true that is, which it wouldn't shock me if that was true. Either way, for whatever reason, El Rayo fell apart. The options were just getting diabolical. All right, I understand that. At the same time, Lamont Roach versus Tank is trash. If Devin Haney announced he was fighting Lamont Roach coming up from 130 next at 135, I'll say that shit's trash. Let me tell you this. To me, Gervonta is far better than Devin Haney. So it's trash, bruh. It's trash.
Steven Espinoza talks about the big pressure fighters like Gervonta Tank Davis face, saying the expectations around him are similar to those placed on stars like Canelo Alvarez.
Fair questions. I mean, look, when you have fighters the caliber of Tank, of Canelo, the bar is always high. When you continue to perform well against high-level opposition, people expect a lot from you. There were preliminary discussions about the Shakur fight, early on, like back early, for 2024 before this was scheduled. Didn't get very far for reasons I won't go into. But
come on.
I just think there were, I'm not sure that the time was right. I think, what Shakur was looking for was something different than, he was looking for more of a long-term commitment other than just doing one fight, and so he's got his deal, he's getting busy, he's got a fight scheduled, and, maybe we'll pick up and do something there. But aside from that, I mean, to be candid, those are the big names at 135. I know Tank has gone up to 140, and he would on occasion. He hasn't looked the best there. Overall, I think 135 is his best weight. So it would take a lot for him to get there.
He mentions that early talks happened about a possible fight with Shakur Stevenson in 2024, but things didn't move forward because both sides had other priorities. Espinoza believes Tank is at his best at 135 pounds, even though he sometimes moves up to 140.
If we look at this, you take Shakur out of it, then there's a big drop-off at 135, to be completely honest. So, let's be clear, and I don't mean that as any disrespect to everybody else, but, in terms of household names and guys who will, at least on paper, are going to be a big challenge, it becomes more and more difficult. So I think, Lamont is obviously a skilled fighter, good size, even though he's coming up. We'll see that when they get on the stage and they're standing for each other. It's a regional rivalry. They have an amateur history. I look at this a little bit the way I look at, the Canelo fights in 2020.
Floyd Schofield, another lightweight boxer, shares his thoughts on Gervonta Davis's focus before the fight with Roach. He suggests that Tank should concentrate fully on his opponent instead of getting sidetracked by things like social media or personal matters.
In good spirits if I had an 8 today. So thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Obviously, an important fight for you. Every fight at this point is an important fight for you because of what is looming. It's close. I was just talking to Oscar about, another successful fight. You're this close to a potential Gervonta Davis fight. Like, what does that feel like for you at this stage in your career?
It feels good because, this is the things that we worked for. Me being number 2 in the WBA, it's just like a dream come true almost. I didn't collect the belt yet, but I worked my whole life for this, me and my dad, So when the opportunity presents itself, we're going to be more than ready. But it's a dream come true, really.
Roach responds to concerns about his weight class by saying he's completely comfortable fighting at 130 pounds. Even though some people think he's too small for it.
Obviously, Tank isn't the biggest 135-pounder. Everybody who fights is damn near bigger than him. I think the only person that was smaller than him was Pitbull. You know what I'm saying? And that's just in height and stature. He was, technically bigger than Tank too. But Tank is comfortable at 135, so I don't blame him for fighting that way. But he's not a big 35. I don't see why people would like, oh, you brought up a smaller guy, woo-de-woo, blah, blah. I mean, to me personally, I'm not stunned there. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna keep saying that. They're gonna keep saying that. You know what I'm saying? I fight at 130 because that's what I campaigned at. That's why I started my career. That's where I campaigned. That's why I worked my way up to a world title. And that's what I was going to do. My plan was always to move up to 35 and win another title. So it just happened a little, you know what I'm saying, a little earlier than normal.
Yeah. But, I mean, you fought at 35 before.
Them was just, so technically them wasn't just 35 fights. You know, like when a boxer starting their career, they don't necessarily have to make 130 pounds because we're not in title contention or none of that. So the opponents that I was getting, the opponents that were there or were available, opponents that were selected for me were probably bigger or they just couldn't make.
Roach admits that some might think he's at a disadvantage against bigger fighters, but he confidently says he feels just as strong and ready at 130 pounds as he would at any other weight. As for Gervonta Davis choosing to fight Lamont Roach, it could go either way. Some might see it as a chance for Tank to bring excitement and prove a point, while others may view it as a smart move to lock in an easier win.
Probably talking about that occurred at like 40. I was supposed to fight at 32. He was 8 pounds overweight. They made him lose weight. I went, ate breakfast, and weighed in. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. That's how it be in the beginning of people's career. That's why different people fight at different weights, and everybody doesn't necessarily fight under their weight that they campaigning or at the weight that they campaigning technically when they start off. You know what I'm saying?
That's all for today's video. Stay tuned and catch you next time.